Brighton, who make 3 changes from their win over Norwich in the Cup last weekend. Sebastian Ademola and Darius Lane drop out of the squad entirely, whilst Yunus Ibrahim drops down to the bench. They're replaced by Corbin Matunzi, Callum McClay and Joe Belmont. So in full then, the Brighton goalkeeper is Alfie Mansell, and then the rest of the Brighton starting 11, Matthew Hayden, Cristiano Anna, Corbin Matunzi, Jacob Vickery, the captain Callum McClay, Aidan West, Shane and Ty, Joe Belmont, Ronnie Gorman and Nehemiah Oriola. On the bench for Brighton, Theo Outen, Yunus Ibrahim, Tyler Silsby, Tate Ferdinand and Billy Cullinane. As for Palace, you can see boss Rob Quinn there, who has made 4 changes to the side who started in that win over Arsenal last Saturday. Charlie Walker-Smith, Seb Williams, Zach Henry and Benjamin Casey come in to replace Josh Mawana, Jerome Asai, Jesse Derry and David Monchen. So Marcus Hill continues in goal then. George King, Dean Benamar, Kyrese Adams-Coleman, Sean Samade, Charlie Walker-Smith, Tyler White, Ewan Danaher, Benjamin Casey, Seb Williams and Zach Henry make up the rest of the Palace starting lineup. Then they have Jack Mason as the substitute goalkeeper. And the referee just making sure that all's in order. He blows his whistle. And we are off and underway at the start of the first half here. Palace attacking the goal to the left of the picture as we look at things in this first 45. Referee there thought about giving an early free kick on the edge of the penalty area, but decided to allow the game to continue as Matunzi did well in defence for Brighton. Samade playing on the left side of the back 3 today for Palace in his regular role. Charlie Walker-Smith back in the heart of defence as Josh Mawana drops out of the squad. Comfortable collection there for the Brighton goalkeeper Alfie Mansell. Brighton there, though, playing themselves into a bit of trouble, and there's an early opportunity here for Palace, and it's a good effort on goal as well from Zach Henry, and it's a fine save from Mansell. Down low to his right, but that really could have been the perfect start there for Palace had they taken that chance. Brighton causing their own issues, and it's a really good save, though, from Mansell. Gets the home team out of trouble. Not much more that Zach Henry could do there, I don't think. Didn't do much wrong. Wasn't the most powerful of efforts, but it certainly was destined for the bottom corner. Resulting corner kick is sent into a dangerous area as well, and it's over the top of Mansell's crossbar. Charlie Walker-Smith making first contact, forward from the back there. Difficult one for him to divert goal bound, though. But it's a good start here for Palace, who've certainly started on the front foot. I'm sure they'll be looking to keep that up. Long ball forward that time from back to front for Brighton, but it doesn't work out for them. The Palace throw-in taken forwards down the line. Danaher taking control of it to begin with in midfield, in the heart of the team today for Palace, alongside Adams-Coleman in central midfield. Forward in behind the Brighton backline, and Casey battling for possession, but the referee blows the whistle for the game's first foul. Just a little bit over-eager to get to the ball there, and the referee deeming just too much contact from the Palace number 9 and gives the free kick. I think he wants a word with Casey here early on for that infringement too. Doesn't seem to be too much in it other than a little bit of a wrestling contest for possession. Gorman robbed of possession well there by Benamar. You'd certainly expect him to be a key outlet today for Palace. He has been in recent games. Very much an attack-minded, forward-thinking wing-back in his left wing-back role. Have the throw in here to take right down below us. Throws it forwards down the line, but it's back in Brighton's possession. Vickers to Anna. Anna advancing forwards down that left wing. Here's Oriola, who scored 2 goals in Brighton's most recent game, the 3-1 win over Norwich, which was their lone under-18 Premier League Cup victory last weekend. They finished bottom of their group despite those 3 points last time out. Palace ending their Cup group in 2nd position, but they were knocked out on goal difference by Liverpool. Unfortunate not to progress in that competition, but full focus on the league now. Hayden slips it forward here for Aidan West to get on his bike after, but that's a good challenge from Sean Samade. Did well to get to the ball. No Jesse Derry then, of course, today for Palace. He'll be a huge loss, I'm sure, for the under-18s. Played an hour yesterday for the under-21s in their narrow 1-0 defeat up in Newcastle last night. Great to see his personal progression up to the older age group, which he certainly deserves, but I'm sure for his under-18s teammates here, they'll miss his quality out on the field today. Here's Henry. Now Benamar. Nice skill, good footwork. Adams Coleman retains possession. Back to Walker-Smith, comfortably in that back line. 5 minutes played, still 0-0, but Palace have been on top. They've had the 2 best chances of the game so far as well. They both came in quick succession. Zach Henry forcing the save from Mansell down low to his right, and then Walker-Smith's effort from the resulting corner as well. Brighton bring the ball forwards here with Gorman. Options both sides for him. Opts to play out wide right here for Aidan West, who drills the ball across the penalty area, and that's a great save from Hill. Denies Shane and Ty. First real flurry forwards for the home team, and it very nearly paid dividends for them as well. Side foot effort, bounced through to Hill in the Palace goal, and it was a good save down low to his right. Still Palace need to deal with the corner as well, which Brighton have taken short. And Ty, the provider this time, towards the back post. It's another save for Hill, who keeps it out, but the offside flag goes up and it wouldn't have counted anyway. Certainly warning signs there, though, for the Palace defence. And Ty with the initial effort, and then looking to turn provider with the delivery after the short corner. Palace have given the ball away there, and Ty picks it up in midfield. Here's Oriola, drives on towards the penalty area, and is the corner going to be prevented? It's not. It trickles out for that set play. More defending to do for Palace. Still in the early stages, just 7 minutes on the clock. It's been a lively start to the game, though. Certainly not a slow burner. Both teams have had chances to get the opening goal now. High delivery, swung right into the mixer there for Brighton. It's kept in play. Offside, though. Or had it just crossed the line? I think it has gone out, in actual fact, for the goal kick. No, offside was the decision. It was right to begin with, as the referee raises his arm in signal of the offside call. Marcus Hill takes that free kick and sends it long up to the halfway line. Brighton immediately regaining possession, though. West back to Belmont, happy to drop back from his regular position to link the play there, leading the line, Joe Belmont, but as I say, dropping back into midfield momentarily on that occasion. I think it comes with the subsequent phase of play, and it's out for another goalkeeper's restart, this time from the goal kick for Marcus Hill. And there was a little bit of toing and froing between the goalkeepers at the start of the season for the Palace under-18s, but Marcus Hill has put a good run of games together now. Jack Mason, of course, on the substitutes bench. Actually celebrating his birthday today, Jack Mason. Many happy returns to the Palace substitute goalkeeper. Mansell in net at the other end, playing that one out short from the back. He gets it back from Jacob Vickers. Hayden. Good pressure from Adams Coleman onto Gorman, but the latter did well to keep the ball. Again, comfortable in playing the ball back to Mansell. It's always a sign, isn't it, of a goalkeeper's competency with the ball at his feet. How often and how comfortable the rest of his teammates outfield are in giving the ball like that, and certainly Mansell's seen a lot of it so far. Good switch of play, forcing the Palace defence to shuffle across from left to right. Rob Quinn will ask his side to be comfortable in controlling the game, both when they do and don't have the ball, though. It's these sorts of areas where they might have to be patient in winning possession back, and then they'll look to pounce. Already this season it's been apparent the threats that Palace do carry on the counter-attack. And in those transitional moments when they can turn defence into attack quickly. Gorman slipping the pass forwards. West will get there, but it's a good sliding challenge from Samare again. West makes the most of it in the aftermath. Back to Gorman. And Ty. Now Vickers. Brighton just beginning to assert their control in the game in terms of the possession, but right acute they've given it away in case he's fouled. Simple decision for the referee, and it's the type of challenge which, if later in the game in the second half, might have brought about a caution, but early on, one which the Brighton offender is going to get away with. Yeah, loose pass, wasn't it? And the somewhat cynical challenge to bring down the big Palace number 9. Back into the starting 11 today, Benjamin Casey. I'm sure he'll be pleased to have regained his place after it was David Mongen who started up front last weekend. Benamar goes up for the header. Brighton throw. Taken short into feet, but not the return back to Hayden, which was envisaged. Palace ball now. One of the obvious questions to ask today, I guess, is where the goals are going to come from for Palace. Of course, without Derry, who's far and away their top goal scorer with 10 goals in 10 games in all competitions so far this season. Second in that regard is Casey with 3 goals in 12 games, so might be looking for more from their front men. Zach Henry did score last week as well in the aforementioned win over Arsenal, so maybe he can put together back-to-back games with back-to-back goals. Offside there, so it's a Palace restart. Long and high forwards down the line, and the aerial ball won by Vickers. Space in midfield now for Brighton. Out to West. Wanted to come inside onto his favoured left foot, but he was dispossessed. Here's Williams. Two runners ahead of him as well. One of those, Henry, to the right. It was he who the pass was intended for, but wasn't quite slipped into his path. McClay. Matunzi. Back again to Corbin Matunzi. Now Anna. Hayden, comfortable Brighton possession again, but Palace are content with that, just dropping back into their defensive system with everybody back behind the ball. Matunzi, the 17-year-old in the heart of the Brighton defence, seeing a lot of the ball. Here's Gorman. Now West, stepping infield off the right flank from which he's been operating so far. Williams then was dispossessed, and Benamar will have to clear. The ball comes back off West with the final touch, so it's out for the goal kick. Quarter of an hour on the clock, still 0-0. Game's just settled down somewhat after the early opportunities for both sides. Goal kick there taken short. Samade again bringing the ball forwards, trying to feed Benamar. The pass was just too far ahead of his advancing left wing back. Hayden with the throw-in. Taken forwards as well there with the progressive touch from McClay, and he's got the free kick as well for the challenge on him. Decent area this for Brighton if they can get the delivery right. Palace will hold the line just outside of the penalty area. Two hands in the air is the signal from the taker, Gorman, who does swing it into a good position. Backtracking defence did well, and then it's flicked goal bound, and the clearance away was crucial really there for Palace. Gorman again. Now West. Links the play with Anna. Oriola. Up against White, gets towards the byline, then delivered the cross. Oriola keeping the ball in play too. Pressure just beginning to mount on the Palace goal, isn't it? Gorman. Loses the ball that time, and Casey has it. Driving forwards here, Casey over the halfway mark. Could do with some support though. Does well, keeps possession with Williams. Oh, lovely turn there from Seb Williams. The skipper continues too. Hands onto the right with White. Digs out the cross, but it's a good header away from Vickers. Lovely intuition and the quality of the skill from Williams though in midfield. Really neatly done from the Palace captain. Hayden back to Matunzi. Unforced error in possession for Brighton, so Palace gifted possession back. White's throwing in search of Henry. Ends up back with Mansell though. I think both managers will be relatively content with what they've seen from their side so far. Rob Quinn in the Palace technical area and Inigo Calderon, the Spaniard in charge of Brighton. Good work from Adams Coleman to apply the pressure which forced the mistake. Here's Benamar. Nice step over into the penalty area, across the face of goal, and there's the opener. And it is 2 goals in 2 games for Zach Henry, who's found his touch in front of goal. Lovely work from Benamar down the left wing as he drove into the penalty box. And Henry in the right place at the right time with the quality to provide the finish. Great work from Adams Coleman to win the ball back to begin with. Williams involved too, but so much of the credit for the goal has to go to the left wing back, Benamar, driving into the box. And it's a neat finish, isn't it, again from Henry. 20 minutes on the clock and Palace have themselves the advantage. Brighton left to rue there. Missed opportunities. Could easily themselves have got the opener if not for the splendid save from Marcus Hill, but it is Palace who have themselves in front. Great to see Henry back thriving again in front of goal for Palace after that long injury layoff. And now what can Palace do from here to really go and back that up and assert their control in the game? White just running out of room there though, right in front of the referee's assistant over on the far side, and he signals that the ball had just about gone out of play. Clip forwards up to halfway where Samade is there for Palace. Walker-Smith forced backwards as Brighton step up the level of their press a notch or two, and it's given away there. There's a bit of a sticky situation at the back for Palace to deal with as they played themselves into trouble. It's a let-off, isn't it, for the visitors? Hand of apology from Marcus Hill. Just wouldn't quite fall the way of Ronnie Gorman. Had it have done, then could easily have brought about the equaliser. Net was gaping if the ball fell at the feet of Gorman. Just need to be a little bit careful there though, Palace, that they don't cause their own problems. Gorman takes that free kick to Vickers. Wide delivery, good header out though from Walker-Smith. Gorman with Past the midway point of this first half now. Palace leading by a goal to nil. Zach Henry, the man on the score sheet from close range. Hayden to Gorman again. Likes to drift out onto this right wing. Here's West. Good covering defending once more from Walker Smith, who's very much been involved in the middle of the back three for Palace in the game so far. More up than away there from Williams. Somale got his head to the ball though, and it's long forward for Casey to chase after. Does a lot of work without possession, doesn't he, Benjamin Casey? Often isolated in the periods of the game where Palace don't have possession, as they drop back into more of a 5-4-1 system. Vickers did well to begin with, but then couldn't find anybody in blue and white with the pass at the end of his run. Samade to Benamar again under an intense level of pressure from Aidan West. He was the other scorer, by the way, for Brighton last weekend. In addition to the brace from Oriola. Two wide men getting the goals. And you can certainly see the threats that they possess. And I'm sure will continue to pose to the Palace defence as the game continues, particularly West. In these opening 25 minutes, very much looks a threat. Hayden. Forward here to West, and Gorman wants it. Played towards him. Nearly inadvertently ran back into the path of Hayden. Still Brighton have it on the edge of the penalty area. Now Oriola gets the ball all the way across the 6-yard box. And it was begging for a touch to turn it home. Palace can breathe a big sigh of relief that that one trickled through the 6-yard area. Yeah, just too far ahead of both Balmont and McCly as well. White just left the ball behind there, hence the overturn of possession. Casey pressurising the goalkeeper. Did well though to pick the pass to Hayden and keep possession. They've given it away now though. This is promising for Palace. Danaher into Adams Coleman. Back to Ewan Danaher on the edge of the penalty area via the deflection, and it was going to bounce behind for the corner, but for the goalkeeper's intervention there. Prevents that corner set piece. As the replay shows, the deflection just took all of the pace out of the shot. Matunzi looks a competent player in the back line for Brighton. Comfortable with the ball at his feet as well. Foul against Williams. Push in the back, which the referee spotted. No complaints really there from the Palace captain. Hayden with a supporting run for West again. Now McClay. Matunzi. Anna back to Vickers. Nice switch of play and a neat touch too from Gorman. Just waiting for the right moment to try to unlock this resolute Palace defence, but Palace will be comfortable defending this 1-goal advantage. It's applauded by the Palace bench as well as the ball's forced all the way back to Mansell. And eventually they force the error for the overturn of possession as it's out of play for the throw-in. Much of the defensive system and style employed by Rob Quinn is about patience, making sure that everybody knows their role and responsibility. Waiting for the right moment to either nip in to win the ball or, ultimately, as we've just seen there, wait for the ball to be played back to them. Benamar on free kick taking duty here. Improvises, takes it forward down the line to Casey. He's done really well there as well. Casey to win the corner. Battling hard with Hayden. Just managed to get himself away from the two big centre-backs, Matunzi and Vickers, for a split second, and instead was pinned against the right-back Hayden. Corner taken short here for Palace. Back to Williams. Out onto the edge of the penalty area for Adams Coleman. It was just slightly too far ahead of him, though. The referee's going to bring it back for a shirt pull, I think, for the Brighton free kick. And disappointing that it was just a little bit too far ahead of where Adams Coleman had positioned himself, because there wasn't much pressure on him at the edge of the penalty area. The top of the D certainly was inviting to take a shot at goal, but Adams Coleman just couldn't do that with no control of the ball. Diagonal switch of play again, finding Aidan West. Benamar's got his work cut out against the lively Brighton number 7. Maybe part of the reason as to why he hasn't been so prominently forward down the left wing, but when it mattered most, he was able to provide the cross for the goal. It's another assist to add to his name this season as well. Really has flourished since replacing Freddie Cowan in that particular role in the team. A little bit of confusion over the restart as Samade thought that being given as a throw-in, but it is the free kick. Goes long and direct with it. KC got away from Hayden, but illegally in the eyes of the referee. A little bit stop-start at the moment and since the goal, but that will favour Palace as they're the team ahead. Palace have been involved in many games this season which have swung one way and then back the other in terms of the scoreline. Plenty of games with plenty of goals as well, so you certainly would expect there to be more as the game goes on. But so far it's been a good defensive display from them. And they've taken one of their two real clear-cut opportunities as well. Hayden. Gorman. Back to Intai. Intai dropping deeper to get on the ball again. So too here, Gorman. Now Hayden. Benamar did well to win the ball. Good tackle. Throwing taken forwards in search of Casey once more, and he gets the free kick. Great work again from the Palace front man. Really is proving to be a handful for the Brighton backline. White. And to King, advancing into a lesser seen attacking role. Straight into the hands of the goalkeeper though, and he bowls the ball out quickly to Gorman. Loose touch then though from him. Benamar has it. Lost his footing momentarily. Back to his feet now though, and maintains possession. Walker-Smith into Williams with plenty of space and time with the ball at his feet. Picks a good pass to his midfield partner Danaher. White kept the ball in play, but in doing so inadvertently gives possession back to Brighton, and they're coming forward with bodies supporting the attack as well. That flow of the attack is just held up. Palace did well to ensure that it came to nothing more than it did in the end for Brighton, because it was certainly a concern as they had bodies over on the right wing. Matunzi. Anna back to Vickers. Oriola. Nine minutes to play plus stoppage time at the end of the first half, but haven't really been too many stoppages in the 35 minutes so far. Both sides there asking for the decision from the referee's assistant, but it goes Brighton's way. Referee just urging Hayden to take that throw in, which he does so now. Anna to Oriola. Hasn't really been able to penetrate the Palace defence from his wide left role though so far, and that's to the credit of White and George King over on that side for Palace in defence. Again, forced backwards. Brighton remain patient, but Palace so too in their defensive structure, and they're preventing the home team from really going anywhere at the moment. That's a good turn from McClay. And the clearance away is safety first option taken by Walker-Smith, who was not going to take any chances inside his own box. Once again, the game falling into this now familiar pattern of Brighton possession. Oh, that's a lunge from Williams, who slid in, tried to get to the ball. There is going to be the game's first yellow card brandished there by the referee. I think the referee indicating that it isn't Williams' first foul either, so in fairness, the Palace captain not really with too many complaints. So he becomes the first man cautioned. Honest attempt for the ball, but he certainly didn't get it. Palace have done well to negotiate a few of these wide set-piece deliveries so far, and testament to that, Brighton have actually taken it short and will keep possession rather than delivering into the mixer again from a wide position. And again, patience proves to be the way in which Palace get the ball back after the unforced error from Gorman. Palace didn't have it long. Interesting watch this game. It's turned into a bit of a chess match in some regards, as Brighton are trying different avenues of attack in breaking down the Palace defence, but it's not working out for the home team up until this point. Very much Palace will be happy with the restrictions that they've applied on the Brighton attack. Vickers. Matunzi. Hayden, again with a supporting run, but once more it's not used by West, who keeps possession himself and runs himself out of play. It's a couple of times now that Hayden has tried to attack the space in that little pocket behind the Palace left-back, but not received possession. West's held on to it himself. Casey pleading for the ball, and he's bemused as to why it wasn't sent his way. Here's White. Into the penalty area, and he checks back as well, keeps possession. There's the delivery right across the face of goal, and good defending from Hayden. Now Benamar. High delivery to the back post again, and it's dealt with just about. The referee says that the final touch came off the Palace frontman, Casey, I think it was. But a couple of opportunities in quick succession there for Palace with a couple of wide deliveries. And that's when they look most threatening. Getting the ball forward into those wide areas. Credit where credit's due there for the defensive intervention from Matthew Hayden. And did really well, the fullback. Did that last come off Casey? I think it might have been a corner, but the referee gave the goal kick instead. And we'll now have the free kick for Brighton down the other end. I think there's going to be a card as well. There is for an alleged elbow, as the referee's clearly suggesting. So the yellow card showing the way of Walker-Smith, and he becomes the second man in the referee's notebook as he joins his captain Williams. Two players who just need to be careful now in the second half. And we saw Brighton decline the opportunity to deliver from a not dissimilar position, but it looks as though they will send the ball into the mixer this time. Defenders forward from the back as well. It's an effort on goal instead from Ronnie Gorman. Just tried to catch Hill out there. Some disguise about the shot on target, but it was a comfortable catch for Hill. Going to take more than that to beat the Palace shot stopper. Strong header from Walker-Smith. So too from Matunzi. Head tennis over the halfway line at the moment as it's hooked forward again by Danaher. And nicely dealt with by Vickers. Back to his goalkeeper. Into the final couple of minutes of this first half. It's been an interesting first 45. First goal could have gone either way, but I think from a Palace point of view it's important that they did get themselves in front. And if it is to be a one-goal lead going into half-time, I think they'll feel they deserve it because of the defensive display that's supplemented the Zach Henry goal as well. It's really given them the basis to build on moving forward in the half, and Brighton have been restricted in front of goal. Oh, Henry wins the ball back, feeds it forward here to Casey. Could it get better for Palace before the break? It's the wrong side of the post. And it's a golden opportunity to make it 2, which goes begging there for Benjamin Casey. Huge, huge chance to double the lead. Henry, the goal scorer, did so well to win the ball. And the goal scorer, turning the provider that time, well onside. Corbin Matunzi was miles back in the Brighton back line. Just narrowly wide of the goalpost at the bottom corner, though. It wasn't a bad effort, but he'll know he should be hitting the target there. Into stoppage time then at the end of the half. No indication as to how long the stoppage time period will be. No fourth officials, of course, in the Under-18 Premier League. Certainly wouldn't imagine that there'll be too much added on at the end of the half, though. It's been relatively incident-free in terms of no need for the two-team physios. Long throw in there, taken forwards down the line. But you wonder how big a turning point that might be in the game, the miss there one-on-one from Casey. Palace will hope it doesn't prove to be a turning point at all, but Brighton will look to use that as a springboard for a way back into the game, I'm sure, in the second half.
With an excellent strike from outside the penalty area,
Hayden.
Right into the top corner, means that at
West
half
infield,
time,
but only to Williams.
Palace 1.
He sets Casey on his way again, and there's another opportunity here. Casey through on goal once more, but that time Vickers is across on the cover. Just wonder whether he could have taken it on a little bit earlier there on his right foot. Tried to move the ball away from the defender onto his left. Allowed for Vickers to intervene, and it was good defending from the Brighton centre-back. But that's 2 chances now that Casey's had to make it 2-0 before half-time. Frustration apparent there for Palace. We've played 2 minutes of stoppage time now. Still there'll be time, though, for the corner. Good looking delivery, and it's over the top of the bar. It's going to be another corner kick, though, this time from the other side after the deflection. Just came off the top of the head of the Brighton defender. Still time to take this corner as well, then, which you would imagine will be the final action to close this first period out. Benamar's delivery doesn't beat the defender at the near post, though. Adams Coleman got to the ball on the edge of the penalty area, and indeed there was the final action for the first period. The referee blows the whistle for half-time, and Palace have themselves ahead at the break, but it could have been more for them after Zach Henry found the back of the net for the opening goal. Lovely delivery from Dean Benamar there with the assist, but Casey's had 2 big opportunities just before the break to double the lead. Neither of those taken, and you wonder whether Palace will be left to rue those missed opportunities in the second half. Let's hope not, but Brighton will look to change the game in the second period. They need more in front of goal. They've really not been able to create too much at all. But at half-time, it's Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Crystal Palace 1. Referee just checking that all is ready. I believe there's been a substitution at half-time for Brighton. Tyler Silsby, the man who has come on. And he's replaced Corbin Matunzi, who I thought had a good first half in the back line. So whether there's a change of system, looks as though they might have switched the system somewhat, because Silsby is playing in midfield. Matunzi was very much in defence. But we are underway at the start of this second period, as it's clipped forward into the penalty area, and Marcus Hill had to be alert and was there to the danger. Here's Casey. Benema driving towards the byline again, and the header out of the danger area only falls to Williams. Didn't clear the edge of the penalty box in the end. Brighton back with the ball now. Anna. Header from Walker-Smith. Tried to find King. Vickers out to Hayden. Missed control to begin with by Anna, but it broke to Oriola. Anna here to Oriola again. Once more he declined the offer of a more adventurous 1v1 against the Palace wing-back though. Gorman. Vickers. Oriola takes it on this time, steps inside. Plenty of players around him, and in the end the free kick is given for the dangled leg of Danaher. Did opt that time to be more progressive in his style of play, the wide man Nehemiah Oriola, and you can see the trouble that it caused the Palace defence. Had plenty of bodies around the ball, but it was a foul from Danaher. A yellow card there shown to the Palace midfielder Ewan Danaher as well. And this most certainly in shooting range. Marcus Hill aligning his four-man wall. A couple of options stand behind the ball as well here for Brighton. One of those, the substitute Tyler Silsby. And the other, Shane and Ty. It is Silsby who goes for goal, but it's straight down the throat of Marcus Hill. Comfortable catch for the Palace goalkeeper. Had that side of the goal covered. Bread and butter work, really, for a goalkeeper of his quality. Yeah, so it seems as though a change in positions for Brighton, more so than a change in system. Callum McClay, who was operating in midfield, has dropped into central defence. And Tyler Silsby on in midfield as that one bounces through to Alfie Mansell from the right boot of Williams. Does like to drive forward from a central midfield role like that, Seb Williams, and get a shot away like he did. Belmont. Williams seemed to be having his shirt pulled, and when he went to ground, the whistle was blown for the free kick. Here's White. The American trying to play the pass into the path of the goal scorer Henry, but it was slightly misplaced. Benema. George King will take on the shot on his less favoured left foot, though. Didn't turn down the opportunity to shoot, mind. Benema again with his almost trademark turn and spin inside now. Loves to employ that particular skill. Very skillful player, isn't he, with the use of a step over. Not too few and far between either. 5 minutes played since half-time. Both sides have had sighters. Certainly no opportunities as good as the two that Casey had before half-time, though, in the 5 minutes which have been played here at the start of the second half. Gorman. Forward to West. Good defending, though, to clear the ball away. Casey wins the free kick. Samade looks likely to take this free kick. He's going to leave it for his goalkeeper Hill, in actual fact. Seems as though Kyrese Adams-Coleman is wearing the number 19 shirt, by the way, in this second half. Didn't see his shirt get ripped or anything of the like, but you'd imagine that's most likely the reason as to why he's changed his number at the break. Adams-Coleman playing the pass there to Benema, who takes it in his stride again. Well defended against, though, that time by Hayden, and the touch in the end from McClay takes it out for the corner. Again, Palace getting their rewards from the progressive attacking down the left wing with Benema right at the heart of things once more. It's a loaded penalty area, and in particular a packed 6-yard box as well. Williams with the direct delivery all the way towards the back post. King gets there, but it's into the side netting. Good delivery, decent header. Wrong side of the post, though, in the end. Just peeled away, didn't he, at the back stick there. Was under pressure with the header in the end by Jacob Vickers, who was marking more zonally. Williams wins the free kick, but no card this time. 3 Palace players have been booked, remember, but no Brighton players to have their name taken so far. Williams again to King, who heads it back across the face of goal on that occasion. Dealt with, though, by the Brighton defence, and they look to spring an attack for themselves here too. West. Hill thought about coming to collect, but it's very wide of his goal, and it's left instead for Silsby. Silsby up against White, into the box. Out of it now as Adams-Coleman clears. Seemed a little bit indecisive to start with there, Marcus Hill, but much better, I suppose, to stay back in the regular goalkeeping position than to make the wrong decision and come out and make a bit of a howler of things. In fact, it was so wide, allowed for his defence and Tyler White in particular to get back and intervene, though. Just a reminder for you that Palace have drawn their last 3 league games. A couple of 1-1 draws in there and 2-2 in their most recent league encounter, but they're on course for 3 points here. Still, though, with much work to do if that is to be the case come full time at the end of the 90 minutes. Long switch of players. The Palace defence is just beginning to look a little bit more exposed than it was in the first half. West. Seems as though the game is opening up. Certainly more than it was in the first period. Anna to Oriola. McClay. And it's this sort of passage of play, isn't it, really, that we became accustomed to seeing in the first period as the ball down the channel was opted for there by Cristiano Anna. Well cut out, though. So too, that one could have been by Casey if he was a little bit more on his toes. Probably wasn't expecting the pass that was ultimately played. Williams got to the ball well. Mentioned in the first half about controlling the game without possession, and I think that's what Palace will be looking to do as the minutes go by as well. Don't always necessarily have to have the ball to assert a level of control in the game. Something which, of course, we've seen from the Palace first team on numerous occasions with first team boss Oliver Glasner's style of play, as Hill is right out to the edge of the penalty area. A little bit of a tricky one for him, but he did well. Williams. Henry's header. Nobody able to bring the ball down on the deck so far, but it's taken down then by Intai. Palace will press higher up the field and get their rewards for that as well. Here's Williams with the ball. The shooting area, Williams. And the deflection does just about take the ball spinning out for the corner. Williams there frustrated with himself that he wasn't able to test the goalkeeper. Took it in his stride, took it onto his left foot. Wicked deflection off Jacob Vickers, who was there to make the block, really, from a Brighton point of view. You certainly get the sense that the next goal in this game, if indeed there is to be one, could well prove to be a crucial goal. 1-1, and it could be a tide turner. If Palace get the second, as they might do there, as Casey's knocked down from, what, 5 yards out. Just didn't have the power behind it. But if Palace were to add themselves a second goal, then that would put distance between themselves and the home team on the scoreboard. And at that stage, you feel like it's a mountain to climb for Brighton to get back into the game. Here's Casey into the box. Casey again, and he's taken his chance this time. Well, he missed 2 big opportunities just before the break, but no mistakes on that occasion. And there is the goal to double the lead for Palace. Something out of not much at all. Brighton played themselves into a little bit of trouble with the backward header there, as you see, from Shane and Ty, causing all sorts of problems, but Casey was there to pounce. And it's a clinical finish. Seb Williams was almost celebrating before the ball even hit the back of the net there. He had no doubts in his mind, and by the looks of things, Casey didn't either, despite the 2 missed opportunities that I mentioned earlier. Just what Palace were looking for, just what Rob Quinn wanted. And it changes the scoreline and somewhat the dynamic of the game as well, just prior to these double substitutions. Both teams look to be introducing a couple of players here. Chuks Akolai is one of the players coming on here for Palace, wearing number 12, and Jacob Fasida is going to be given his under-18s debut. Named in the under-18 squad for the first time today. Regularly plays his football with the Palace under-16s. And he's given the responsibility of being introduced with half an hour to play. Try and clear up those Brighton changes for you as well. I believe Yunus Ibrahim is one of those to come on here. Billy Cullinane the other. Walker Smith and Seb Williams, the 2 players to be withdrawn there for Palace. It seems as though Fasida has moved into the back line to replace Walker Smith, but Samade's in the middle of that back 3 now, so he's shuffled across one place, and Fasida in the left centre-back role. You'd imagine it will be a like-for-like change between Akolai and Williams. Seems as though Akolai is occupying a central midfield role as would be expected. Long ball forwards there, but it's an important intervention from Danaher. Worth noting as well that that now means the captain's armband has been passed over, with Williams having been withdrawn. George King takes on the armband from now on as Hill comes out to collect. There's a slight concern that the ball might just spill away from his control for a split second, but Palace goalkeeper was able to hold on to it. Bar that one moment in the first half where Hill was quickly closed down and caused an issue or two for Palace. It's been a good performance from their goalkeeper so far, and he still has the clean sheet intact as well. And there's going to be another change. Comes shortly after the double substitution. And I mentioned it's Fasida's first minutes with the under-18s. So too here for Joel Drakes-Thomas. Also, usually a member of the under-16 squad. Joel Drakes-Thomas comes onto the pitch. Don't think the referee was quite ready for the play to resume there, so we're going to go back to the throw-in for George King. Drakes-Thomas with an immediate involvement. Good sliding challenge then, though, from McClay. Drakes-Thomas is a versatile player. Seems to have taken up a position just off the striker, really, in the front 3 for Palace, alongside Henry and Casey. I beg your pardon, it looks as though Casey has been withdrawn in that substitution. Makes sense there as to why Drakes Thomas is so high up the field. So, yeah, Benjamin Casey, off the back of scoring that all-important second goal of the game. His races run, did put in a lot of hard work today, did the hard yards. He's off just after the hour mark as well. Referee there just goes to hand the shin pad back to Drakes Thomas, I think, who replaces that and the ball's back in play. It was a 2-0 win for Palace last week with the clean sheets. Have they put an end to some of the defensive troubles that they endured earlier in the season? If they can keep a clean sheet here, then it's going to be a relatively comfortable closing 25 minutes. But they'll want to ensure that they continue to keep Brighton at bay, because it goes back to that old saying, doesn't it, that 2-0 can sometimes be a dangerous scoreline to lead by. Won't want to allow Brighton to get their hopes up in the game at all by way of a goal to half the deficit. Still, this game is far from won. They'll know that. Still plenty of time to play. Vickers. No sign that Brighton will change their methods. Still, despite the scoreline, happy to be patient in playing the ball around the back line like this. Oriola. McClay out to Hayden. Now here's West. Well defended against. Oriola. Not quite on the same wavelength as his teammate Silsby. Plenty to come for you, by the way, on Palace TV. Later today, we'll have live audio commentary of the first team game against Newcastle from 3 p.m. Also, the same live audio commentary for you of the game against Ipswich on Tuesday night. 7:30 start for that one. And it's also worth pointing you in the direction of the tickets which are available for the under-21s fixture against Anderlecht in the Premier League International Cup. Intriguing fixture, that one, for the under-21s team. That game to be played on Tuesday, the 10th of December at the VBS Community Stadium. Tickets available from just £1. So get down to support the Palace under-21s in that one as the offside flag goes up against Brighton. I asked the question earlier where the goals were going to come from today for Palace, of course, without their talisman, regular top goal scorer Derry, but the two front men have come up with the goods with the goals, haven't they? Henry in the first half, Casey in the second. Much of the onus would have been placed on those front two to provide the goals, and they've done the business today. Long ball forward down the channel is nothing more than a hopeful ball forwards there for Brighton. Frustration for Inigo Calderon, the Brighton manager. Henry holding off the pressure from behind and spinning away with the ball and winning the free kick as well. Wonder whether the yellow card will be shown this time to Nehemiah Oriola. The answer to that is going to be that it's not. Stays in the referee's pocket. George King, who's in his second year of a scholarship at the club, to take the free kick there, which he did so, but couldn't find anybody in Palace yellow. Now Hayden. Great challenge there from Adams Coleman. Breaks out onto the edge of the penalty area. Here's Oriola. Option to the left. Oriola utilises that option with Silsby. Hill was able to palm it away. Great goalkeeping to intervene on the cross. Love that from goalkeepers when they take charge and command the 6-yard box, like we saw there from Marcus Hill. I understand their responsibility with wide deliveries as well as just shots on goal. Shane and Ty again dropping into the back line to earn himself an extra yard or two in possession. Vickers. First time long clearance away from Samade. 71 minutes on the clock now. Palace leading by 2-0. Very much on course for the 3 points here in this under-18 Premier League fixture. Going to have to defend this corner though. A couple of Palace players there waiting for the short corner to be taken, Benamar and Adams Coleman, but it might be a more direct delivery. Indeed it is, past those first couple of Palace defenders waiting nearby. It is taken short this time. Back to the original corner taker, slip back towards the path of Aidan West, but the clearance away sends it out for the throw-in. McClay. Now Vickers. Oriola, couple of step overs. Goes down the outside. Excellent sliding tackle to win the ball back here for Palace from Tyler White, who's on his bike forwards as well. Just trying to hold his run to stay onside there was Drakes Thomas. Had to just check back to make sure that he didn't run into an offside position before the pass was played his way. Not the best of balls towards him in the end, but it was a great tackle to begin with from Tyler White. And we're going to see the latest and what will be final Palace substitution as well for the introduction of Jerome Asai. Zach Henry, the man to be withdrawn. So Asai on to support Drakes Thomas in attack. Complete change of the front line there for Palace. Especially with Chuck Sokoli just behind them as well. It's that triangle leading the line today rather than a more regular front three. It's worked a treat. And Rob Quinn will be delighted with the way in which his tactical game plan has been executed up until this point. Palace win it back again, and once more it was White. Tyler White, who was part of the under-15 side, who finished runners-up in the under-15 National Floodlit Cup back in 2022. Also another one of those in his second year of a scholarship with the club now. Palace free kick. Foul right down by the corner flag. A third Palace goal would most certainly wrap things up and kill off any hope of a Brighton comeback. Not necessarily a necessity, but it would be a nicety, wouldn't it, for Palace? Oh, really well done, lovely work. Trying to pick out the cutback as well to Drakes Thomas, and it's set for Adams Coleman on the edge of the penalty area, but the block was made. His shot was en route towards goal as well. King goes down in the penalty box, and the referee points for a spot kick. And Palace will have the opportunity to add a third goal. Brighton pleading their case with the referee, but the decision isn't going to change now. George King with a smile on his face, with the captain's armband on. Things just getting better for Palace, aren't they? As you see there, yep, definite penalty. The leg was outstretched from Tyler Silsby and he didn't get to the ball. King went over it, went to ground. No doubt in the minds of the referee to point for this spot kick. And Jerome Asai, just on off the substitutes bench, takes on the responsibility from the penalty mark. Can Asai make it three? Right-footed? No, he can't. He's blazed it over the bar. Not the penalty that he'd envisaged. Unable to hit the target. And it's a big let-off, isn't it, for Brighton? A little bit of a stuttering run-up. Tried to find that top corner. Would have been an excellent penalty had it nestled into the back of the net, but first thing you've got to be doing from a penalty like that is at least hit the target, and he knows that. Opportunity squandered. So we're back to where we were. Game remains at 2-0. Palace now need to ensure that that missed penalty doesn't provide the spark for Brighton to get their tails up again. Certainly a Brighton goal would definitely then plant the seeds of doubt in the minds of the Palace players, so you feel it's imperative that they keep hold of the clean sheet and prevent that from ultimately being the case. White's delivery, clearance out of the penalty area there though to Ntai. McClay happy to leave it for Mansell. Still feels unlikely that Brighton will be able to get themselves back in the game, but if they get one goal from somewhere, something out of nothing maybe, then it could certainly be a nervy ending. You say it feels unlikely that they'll get back into the game, but you don't know what's going to happen next. They haven't really been able to create opportunities in front of the Palace goal, certainly not to trouble Marcus Hill in this second half. I think he's only had to make one meaningful save, and that was straight down his throat from the free kick, but giving away somewhat silly free kicks like that right on the edge of the box just provides a rejuvenation of hope for Brighton. Needless one, wasn't it, really? As the ball seemed to be going out of play anyway. Taken short to Oriola. Well closed down, and it's wasteful from Brighton's point of view. Well defended against from a Palace point of view. Going to have to defend against this as well, though, here as it swung into the 6-yard area. The header back towards goal and the overhead kick attempt as well. Still the ball's not clear. Oriola at the edge of the box, dispossessed. And now Palace do clear the danger and will bring it forward themselves. Asai looking to make amends for the missed penalty, but he's lost possession. And Ty won it off him. Well won back by White, and he's got space to drive into here as well. Tyler White cuts it back across the area. Nobody there, though, in yellow. Benamar retrieves possession. Could have gone over for another spot kick, but Benamar went on and very nearly found the back of the net too. So close there from Dean Benamar. Again, so powerful, so purposeful, with no second thought in his mind. I think the goalkeeper got a touch on it. Will be a corner. I just wonder whether Benamar would have been awarded the spot kick had he gone to ground, though, because again there was an outstretched, dangled leg from the Brighton defender. Theo Outen, the man to come on here for Brighton in a last roll of the dice. Yeah, last card played in that regard from boss Inigo Calderon. Theo Outen brought on. Not the set-piece delivery that Palace were looking for that time. Well cut out there by Fasida. Adams-Coleman. King. Now White. Or slip through the legs of the defender, and it finds his teammate as well, Coley. King closes that one down. Ensures there's no counter-attack on the Palace defence, and instead just a goal kick. As we move past the 82nd minute mark, Palace edging closer to what would be an excellent away victory here to move them level on points with Brighton. Now maybe a little bit more of a sense of an urgency for the home team, and with good reason about that too. Here's West, cuts it back. Coley did enough. Oriola unable to control, and that's a moment's respite in defence for Palace. Yeah, plenty of games going on elsewhere across the country in the Under-18 Premier League as well this morning. As things stand, this victory for Palace would move them up 2 places in the league to 8th, which is a decent mid-table position after 10 games, but they need to hold on to the 3 points here. Oh, and a couple of errors there. It's brought about a problem or two. Slip forwards, but it's a great recovery from King, who was one of a couple to just lose their footing momentarily. King seemed to slip, but the offside flag goes up anyway. The goal wouldn't have counted. Run into an offside position as the replay there shows Aidan West. Still, nonetheless, good recovery from King. Long and direct from Hill. Back from Vickers to Mansell. I think the substitutions that have been introduced off the bench, the substitutes have done well for Palace, seem to have been able to ensure that they maintain the necessary energy levels across the course of the game as well, and somewhat even hired their line of engagement in terms of the press on the Brighton back line, because the likes of Drake's Thomas and Asai, Coley, all in those advanced areas. Even in moments like this, still late on in the game, pressing high up the field. I think it's been a good use of the bench today from Rob Quinn. Vickers throwing. Simple clearance away. Oh, led with his foot there, Adams-Coleman. Slightly surprised that the referee didn't blow the whistle for a high foot, but Adams-Coleman seems to be the player who's come out worse from that coming together. Tries to soldier on and run that one off in midfield. Nobody left on the bench, remember, now for Palace. All of those options have been used, and Adams-Coleman does seem to be struggling a little bit. Definite foul against Fasida, and I think he's going to be cautioned as well. Yeah, that was one way of putting a stop to the attack, wasn't it, for the young man. Jacob Fasida shown yellow. 4 cautions today now for Palace, but they won't mind at all about that if they get the job done with the 3 points. Becomes more and more likely as the clock continues to tick on, but can't afford to concede here as the ball's still bouncing around the area and doesn't come to anything for Brighton in the end. The last touch off the head of Joe Belmont. Looking ahead for Palace to their next league game. That will be against Chelsea on the 17th of December. We'll face Manchester City before that in the FA Youth Cup on Friday the 6th. Hayden. Belmont lost his footing and slipped in a similar way to what we saw from King a few minutes ago. A couple of players just losing their footing out on the field of play. It's been a professional display from Palace today. Been really impressed with the defensive stability of the side and the ability that they've shown in restricting the opportunities for Brighton. A Brighton side with much quality throughout their ranks as well, particularly going forwards. It's worth reiterating. But Palace have been too strong for them today. Both players seem to have a hold of each other's shirt, hence why I think the referee allowed the game to just continue. Advantage played here as well. Hill able to hold on to the effort from Nehemiah Oriola. It's another potentially difficult scenario negotiated. Plenty of candidates for Palace Player of the Match, I'm sure. It's been a great team display today. I think Casey certainly has a shout for that, despite the 2 missed chances before half-time. Got his goal as well, and just for his work rate and his effort in the front line and the linking of the play on numerous occasions, particularly in that first half. Henry, Benamar, Williams too. White, you could almost name the whole team, couldn't you? Marcus Hill has a clean sheet as well, and he's made a string of saves. Adams Coleman's done really well in midfield. Free kick against White that time. Not one of those walking a yellow card tightrope as we pass by the end of the 90 minutes. We're into stoppage time. It would take quite the turnaround now. Again, no indication of how much stoppage time is likely to be played here. No fourth officials in the Under-18 Premier League, as I mentioned in the first half. I think we had around 3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first period by the end of it. Don't think we've had the trainer on in the second half, though. No need for either of the medical teams. Just the 1 goal, but plenty of substitutions, so you'd imagine there'd be maybe 4 or 5 added on. It's another corner to defend. And another corner, well defended. King with the firm header away. He's done really well in the back line too. As I say, I could probably go through the whole team and say every single one of them's done well today for Palace. Asking for the decision from the referee there was Silsby to begin with, but the decision goes Palace's way for the foul. No throwing given, the ball stayed in play, and then a definite foul in the aftermath. Brighton's next game will see them travel to face Newcastle in the FA Youth Cup as well. They'll get back to league action with a home game against Southampton. In a little bit of a bad run of form, actually, Brighton at the moment. Certainly in terms of their league results. If you remove the win over Norwich in the Cup last week, they are now going to be winless in 5 games. And they'll have lost their last 3 in the league as well. Here's Silsby. Heavy touch though. Right off battle for possession. The referee's happy with the challenge. Not so sure about that, but Silsby's allowed to carry on. And then wants to foul himself, which he's not going to get. Can Palace still find time for a third? A side. He's going to head towards the corner flag and use a maturity and experience beyond his years maybe. Trying to keep the ball and just run the clock down. Of course, he's the player who's by far and away had the best opportunity for a third Palace goal with the missed penalty. But it's just a case of seeing out these final few minutes here. Ibrahim, not seen too much of him since his introduction off the bench. Oriola wins the corner. Five blue and white shirts in the penalty area. A couple more lurking at the edge of the box as well. Good header away though from Fasida. Out onto the edge of the penalty box for Intai, but his shot was blocked and always looked likely to be as well because there were so many bodies in the way. Referee there with a check of the watch as we played 4 minutes of stoppage time. Silsby. Again, the referee checks his watch and now blows the full-time whistle. Palace with a 2-goal victory here away at Brighton on the south coast. Goals from Zach Henry and Benjamin Casey get the job done, and they move level on points with Brighton in the league standings. A great display from start to finish, and the clean sheet will be one of the most pleasing factors for Rob Quinn and his goalkeeper Marcus Hill as well, I'm sure. Henry with goals in back-to-back games, and Casey got his goal as well. Clinical finish, one-on-one with Alfie Mansell. And it means that it finishes here at the Elite Football Performance Centre in Brighton. The full-time score is Brighton 0, Crystal Palace 2.